Hi, thank you again for joining us on this journey. I'm Ann, Anna's mom. Anna's sitting this one out today. She's doing great, but what we're going to be talking about is really my ballywhack, so I'm going to go for it. So in today's solution video, we're going to go back to, remember when we talked about our core beliefs, and one of them was that we must heal the brain in order to restore or enhance cognitive function. And the other one was that we must also heal the body. Well, we're going to work on both of those today with this one. I'm going to give you an overview of what we're talking about and some information to think about, research further if you like, and then in subsequent videos we'll get down into more details and more specific how-tos. So this is exciting. I like this a lot. Brain and body health. So the idea here with our whole program, with what Anna and I have been working on, is that we want to teach you how to feel good. Because if you feel good, if you're happy and content and you have a sense of well-being, your brain isn't asking for whatever substance it is that you've been addicted to anymore. It will until the physical cravings go away. But if we can teach you how to feel good, your brain doesn't need to continuously go after that other substance or that other behavior over and over and over again in order to reach the same thing. One thing to note, if you've been in an active addiction for a while, your brain is not all just screwed up. Your brain is actually working very, very well on one level, and it's very powerful. And that drive to constantly feel good that's been driving you towards the substance that is putting your life out of balance, or the behavior that's been putting your life out of balance, that's actually a healthy survival drive. And that means your brain is extremely powerful. What we want to do is get that to work for you instead of against you in your life. So we're going to help you feel good. And we're going to start that right now by talking about gut health. Believe it or not, 70% of your nervous system actually resides in your gut, in your digestive system, in your stomach and intestines and colon. So this is pretty exciting news because we're going to talk about celiac disease today. And that's not because I think you all have celiac disease, and some of you probably do, but because it is a way of talking about gut health. It's kind of extreme. It's on the extreme end of having a screwed up gut, having celiac disease. But there's a lot of great scientific data out there about celiac and about how poor gut health affects brain health and our emotional responses and that sort of thing. So this is cool. One thing I will tell you right away, there was a study done in Sweden back in 2007. There was one done in 98, and then they updated again in 2007 about celiac disease. So keep in mind, I'm not saying I think you have it, but if you've been in active addiction for any length of time, or you've just been eating the regular American diet, the chances of having your microbiome or your gut not being in good repair are extremely, extremely, extremely high. So you probably have a problem, whether you're symptomatic or not. By the time you start having symptoms of poor gut health, you're really down the road there pretty far. So this probably applies to you. So keep that in mind. Anyway, in this study of celiacs in 2007, they took about 16,000 people who'd been diagnosed with and were living with celiac disease, and about another 64,000 people who were the normal or control study, so people who had not ever been diagnosed with celiac disease. And what they found was that the people with celiac disease had an 80% higher chance of clinical depression. That's kind of a big deal. And what they also found is in that control group of the healthy people who had never been diagnosed with celiac disease, those folks who had depression were 230%, had a 230% higher chance of being diagnosed with celiac disease. So there's a huge correlation based on that particular evidence, and lots of other studies as well. It's really interesting because what happens in celiac disease is we have inflammation in our gut, in our system. And that inflammation can lead to food sensitivities and eventually can lead to celiac. And so that inflammation within the system, within the gut, actually causes damage and injures the tissues in your intestines and in your whole gut. And once that happens, your body cannot absorb the nutrients that you're putting into it through your food nearly as well as they need to. And we need those nutrients to, feed us and keep our bodies going. We also need those nutrients in order to produce hormones and chemicals like serotonin. Did you know that 90% of the serotonin your body produces is not produced in your brain? It's produced in your gut. That's a pretty recent finding for us. In fact, the vast majority of the feel-good hormones like dopamine and serotonin that your body makes are actually made in your gut, in your digestive system, and not in your brain. So if this system is out of whack at all, it's going to affect your ability to feel good. That's why this is important to you. So what we want to do is we want to say, all right, let's clean the gut up. What do we do and how do we do that? And we're going to get into a lot of information on that down the road in subsequent videos, but I want to give you something today to at least get started on. I have a book to recommend if you're interested in reading more. There are actually several books. Wheat Belly was written by a cardiologist, and it is a fantastic book that talks about the dangers of grain and what's been happening in our society and our health because of it. Dr. William Davis wrote that one. And one of my favorites here, Grain Brain by Dr. David Perlmutter. He's a fantastic doc. And if you're really interested in this and you want to know more right now, go ahead and pick up that book. It's on Amazon and it's on Kindle. And he can talk to you about the specifics of how gut health affects brain health, but also there's a whole program in there on what to eat, what not to eat, how to get it out of your diet, and how to clean that system up if you're interested. And if you're not, we're going to be giving you tips no matter what. So the first thing I would do in order to clean up your gut is get rid of the things that we know are probably causing irritation to it. And those things are processed sugar. So anything with sugar in it, basically. It's just not good for you. And we're not talking about giving these foods up forever. We're talking about giving them up for a period of time to get the body back to homeostasis so your gut can make the right hormones so you're happy. So cutting out sugar. Dairy is another that is a sensitivity for a lot of people. And there's a lot of reason to be wary of some of the dairy that we have in our general food supply. You may or may not be sensitive to it, but it's one of the things that is highest up there on the food sensitivity list. So I would eliminate that. All processed foods, all fast foods, foods at restaurants like that come prepared at all, like an Applebee's and places like that. You want to be really careful when you're eating in a place like that because of all the additives that are in the food. Lunchables, frozen dinners, anything processed that's not a meal you cook yourself is going to be suspect because we don't know what the ingredients are, and a good deal of the time they're very unhealthy. And the biggest one is going to be to take out grain. I could say just take out wheat, and that might help you out tremendously. But the better way of doing it is just to remove all grain from your diet for a period of time. And that's hard. I get it because, sandwiches and tortillas and pizza and pasta. There are alternatives out there. There are other things you can do. There are other things you can eat. And again, this is not forever. We're just trying to get your body back to homeostasis so you can live the life you want to live. So, and hopefully removing pizza from your diet is easier than, quitting whatever substance you've been addicted to. So those are the first things that I would do. Get lots of water. Make sure you're eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, organic whenever possible. But The idea being we want to be kind to the gut. We want to give it a chance to heal and get back to homeostasis. And again, you may not have any symptoms. Symptoms, by the way, include gas, bloating after you eat certain foods or after you eat at all, diarrhea, constipation, stomach aches, fatigue, confusion, dizziness, an inability to sleep properly, sleep schedule being messed up, having a hard time falling asleep, or waking up in the middle of the night and having a hard time getting back to sleep. These can all be signs that you have a food sensitivity that is affecting your gut health, which is in turn affecting your brain chemistry. So I really hope this information helps you out. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back on Monday, both Anna and I, with our story. Thank you then.